Rainbow ice cream in a cornet. As you lick it, Sam interviews Roz and Lando on Zoom. Hey Roz, Lando, really good to see you both. Thanks for agreeing to do this today, and congratulations on the 10th anniversary.
Oh, thank you, Sam.
Nice to be here.
How you doing?
Bit nervous. I've never done an interview before, so.
Oh, that's okay. It's just a chat, really. I'll just ask you a few questions and say what you want. No pressure. All right? So, okay, the company's grown so much over the last 10 years and people love it, but they don't know much about you, where you met, how you got together, that sort of thing. But before we get into all of that, tell me, what are you doing to celebrate?
It was supposed to be a surprise, but Roz, I've arranged for us to go out this evening. We have the evening off for a change. We often have to work quite a bit in the evenings to prep for the next day, but tonight is our night. So I'm going to take us back to the time that we first met in the forest. And yeah, we're going to be in a lovely hotel which overlooks our first meeting place and where we used to have our role plays, and we're all, I guess, reminisce about our magical time in a place that was so very special for us. Maybe have a glass of champagne or two or three, maybe even a cheeky massage or two.
Oh, thank you, Lando. That's amazing.
Oh, lovely. You know, you two must have worked really, really hard to make all of this happen. And it's great to hear that you're going to have some time out to celebrate together. But rewind a moment. Meeting in a forest? Role play? Tell me more. Roz.
Okay. Well, actually, we first met very briefly before the forest at a wrestling match that my uncle organized. We didn't really get much chance to speak to each other, you know, or really connect. Well, we did sort of. There was something there. And I remember watching you in the ring, not really focusing on the match. I was just looking at you at like, oh.
So you weren't both watching the match. Lando was in the ring. I had no idea you were a wrestler as well.
No, I was like, yeah, I was forced really by Rose's uncle to fight. I'm not a wrestler, you know, not a professional wrestler. I'm a farmer.
Not by choice.
Oh.
Brother's choice.
So how did a young farmer find himself in the ring with a professional wrestler?
Well, yeah, it was. I was told to. When Rose's uncle tells you to do something, you do it, or you know. And there was money. He said the winner would get lots of money, and I thought, okay, it would be good if I won because my dad left like no money, and left it to my brother, and so he kept it all, and I had plans. You know, I thought, okay, I'm not a professional wrestler, but I'll do it. I'll fight, and I won.
Impressive.
I know, but I didn't see the money though. Turns out it was all a lie, and actually, my brother wanted me dead. He wanted the wrestler to break my neck because. I'm sorry, I didn't want to bring down the tone. Sorry.
That's okay. I might not put that in the article though.
That's fine. Yeah. But before finding out all of that, I was just lost in the excitement. And and my blood was racing from the fight, the victory, and the adrenaline, and this magical angel came to me, and then I couldn't speak. I could hardly string a sentence together, could I?
Yeah. So I'm the magical angel. I gave you my mother's chain that she gave me before she, it was just like, wear this. I wanted you to have something to remember me by.
How could I forget you? Those eyes helped, and this helped as well.
That must have been a very strong feeling, Roz, when you met him for the first time. So strong that you gave him something that meant so much to you.
Yeah, I knew that we were going to meet again. I mean, I didn't know, but I left it to the fate of the gods, and I thought, if this is meant to be, then I'll give him this, and our paths will cross again.
But they must have done, because here you both are, 10 years later, 10 years happily married, and 10 years of success with your ice cream company, which is fantastic. So tell me, Lando, what happened when your paths did cross again?
Well, I didn't realize at the time that we were meeting again, because Roz was in disguise. I was lost in the forest, like running for my life. I was lost. I was lonely. I was missing the magical angel. I knew her name was Rosalind, and I kind of fixated on that word, that name, that person, that memory. So I started writing poems about her and hung them on the trees, and I carved her name onto them. And
vandalizing the trees. Yes, I saw that.
They never let that go. Never. I mean, I would love to say it was a way of me, kind of orientating myself, but maybe that's easy to say in hindsight. I longed to see her. I was in despair, and I thought, well, come on, nature, like bring me my loved one. I was tired. I hadn't eaten much, a few berries. I hadn't slept at all. Then somebody found me, a sweet youth. I had no idea he was Rosalind.
Let's just pause there for a moment. So Roz was in disguise in this forest.
Yes.
What's all that about?
It sounds yeah. Well, my cousin and I decided to leave the city because, well, my uncle wasn't being particularly nice to me. And, at the wrestling match, he saw me talking to Lando, who he hated. He got really angry and threw me out. So me and my cousin and a friend of ours, we put on these, you could call it disguises, but I kind of dress up quite often anyway and play about with clothes and appearances and all that kind of thing. So I decided to make up this person called Ganymede, who was a young man. And my cousin and me decided to go and live in the forest and look for my dad, who was also living in the forest. I hadn't seen him for such a long time, ever since my uncle stole everything from him and threatened to. Anyway, then I saw these carvings on the trees and bits of paper all over the place. And at first I was like, excuse me, who's vandalizing the trees and littering the forest? And then I bumped into him, feeling sorry for himself.
And you didn't tell him who you really were?
Well, I was like, I looked a mess, right? So I just wanted to he didn't recognize me. I thought he might, but we'd only met once and that wasn't for long. So when he didn't recognize me, I thought, let's just carry on and then we'll just see how it goes. And yeah, I quite liked the fact that I knew who he was, but he didn't know who I was. So I could try and find out things like how he really felt about me. Sometimes I feel it was a bit, well, but I think I did it for the right reasons. And it wasn't malicious. I was just, poking and prodding and testing and just seeing what happened. What's the worst that could happen, right?
What was that like for you, Lando?
I was lovesick and I wanted to see my Rosalind. Then this Ganymede tells me he's going to cure me of my sickness by pretending to be Rosalind, like a kind of role play. I mean, I wasn't too sure to start with, but then...
So, was it some kind of therapy?
Yes. I was getting a chance to speak to my loved one. But really and truly, I was getting more and more pulled into Ganymede, and I discovered something like within myself, something I didn't know was there, but I kind of did. I was actually falling for this guy in front of me. He was a stranger, but I was connecting with him more than anyone I had before, like ever.
That's lovely. So, Ros, you told Lando you were going to cure him of his lovesickness. What kind of things did you do?
Oh, I suppose it was a bit of a trial, in that I was quite unpleasant at times. I was a bit argumentative. I was a bit bossy. I was just, hey, I mean, I was actually being myself because, a big part of me is Ganymede. And I wanted to make sure, will he crack under the first sign of difficulty? Will he run for the hills if things get a bit uncomfortable? I just wanted to put all these things to him, not knowing who I was. It just made it a lot easier so I could be all of these different things. And at no point did he throw a strop or run off. And I thought, he's just the most amazing person. And yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I could have put up with Ganymede for as long as Lando did.
It's because you made me feel something that was real and tangible and not on the surface. Like spending a long time on the farm with animals and people who aren't really there for you makes you feel alone. Then you happened. You actually looked at me. You saw me as a person. It's always stayed with me. Even though it was a split second. And then you finding me in the forest. Like, you took your time. And you didn't have to, but you did.
So, Lando, you fell in love with Rosalind and Ganymede?
I fell in love with the idea of Rosalind. And I fell in love with Ganymede.
And now?
Well, they're the same. There's different names, same person, different identities, same vessel coming from the same essence. Ros, I love the glorious mix that you are.
Oh. And I mean, yeah, we don't like to, put names or labels or we just like to be. And I think we both come from that starting point. And that's why we still get on so well.
Has it always been like that?
No, not for me. This is not what I thought. I assumed that I would go down like a certain path, a certain way. A lot of people around me would never kind of have this sense of openness and whatever, you know. So I think you definitely helped me to go on this kind of journey and understanding. And fortunately, it's not rare around us, but for many other people, you know, it doesn't happen. The people around me still don't quite see the possibilities like I do. And I feel better for it.
Like, love knows no gender?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, bringing us a bit closer to the present then, how did the company come about?
Well, that genius is Roz. I'll hand the mic over to them because but yeah, I think they'll explain that one.
Oh, thank you very much. He likes me to take the credit. He's so generous. Well, I mean, I love ice cream, right? Who doesn't love ice cream? But I'm a vegan and there wasn't really a lot of choice out there. So I kind of started making it for myself. I was using fresh, natural ingredients. I think, you know, when you spend a lot of time with nature, and we spent a lot of time, just the two of us, in the forest, picking fresh berries and savoring that flavor, it was only a matter of time before I brought together the three loves of my life: Lando, nature, and ice cream. And it was delicious. And then, you know, everyone loved it. And from the beginning, we said, we're going to make sure it's all going to be organic, recycled, low carbon footprint, all the values that we hold, you know. The taste test that we did at the start meant we got to eat loads of really lovely flavors. Something for everyone, all tastes.
And gone are the days of my wrestling body. I mean, come on.
I still remember that wrestling body. Don't you worry.
All sounds pretty plain sailing, but have you come across any challenges on the way?
Well, yeah.
It's been wonderful to be able to share our story. But if you don't mind me saying, Roz, I think, you know, it's great looking at the past, but perhaps do we allow ourselves time to talk about the present, really, and to learn from our younger selves about being open. I feel like we're connected, but maybe we're too busy to stop and talk about our lives right now, what we're thinking, what we're feeling, what we're hoping.
It did take us a while to get into our groove. And yeah, I remember at the beginning, I kept saying to you, you know, I want to do this ice cream thing, but I also want you to go to university because you've always wanted to go to university. Mm. And then you were like, oh yeah, but you know, we need to get the business off the ground and I need to da-da-da. And you've got this ridiculous work ethic that's just like too much, you know, I think you would work 24 hours a day if you could. So yeah, at the beginning, it was a bit up and down, but we got into our groove eventually, and it was great. And now we're at a place where perhaps we're neglecting our personal life a little bit, but we can work on that.
What are your plans for the future? What's going to happen in the next 10 years?
I mean, we really need to get some staff because we need the family to grow.
The Roz and Lando's ice cream family, or
Well, yeah, I think so.
I think so.
oh, maybe this needs to be a private conversation.
Yeah.
That would be amazing, Roz.
Okay, thank you so much for this today, and congratulations on your wonderful success and to keeping these going despite all the odds, and for keeping that flame of love alive between the two of you, and for sharing your stories so openly. I wish you all the happiness and have a lovely celebration tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
As You Lick It, Sam Ben Spiller, Lando Oliver Alvin Wilson, Roz Sam Beckett Jr. Co-created by Ben, Oliver, Sam and students from the University of Leicester, with thanks to Professor Mary Ann Lund.